nerding out about?
All right. Well, I noticed you put yours second, like intentionally.
Yeah, well, you always complain about me going first, so
that's in the show notes. It literally says right here on our screen, complain about Joe going first. That's how he wrote the script. You don't understand. We are that good. This is a scripted show. Everything we say has been planned out, including this bit about Joe making me complain. He writes the show. I just show up and do it. I don't know what to tell you. So fine, I'll go first, man. I've had the most fantastic of weeks, and this is where I get to get real because I'm just talking to my buddy Joe. And if you guys don't like it, on you, because I love my life right now, and I've worked hard to get it, and I am finally getting to that point. It happens to be in the world of EMS, which I've tried to avoid, but you know what? You got to go with what you're good at. I'd rather honestly be here at Wise and Nerdy, but I do. I run a 501c3 company that's also a social media outlet. It's not right. It's not a platform. It's a voice, right? Called One EMS, and the show's called One EMS the Assessment. And I go to conferences, and I just came back from one today where I take a portable studio. You remember, Joe, those wooden coffee tables that I brought to Dragon Con?
Yes.
Were you there? Yeah.
Yes, so, the ones that were complained about. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. On the podcast, you felt that face. I know you didn't see it, but you absolutely felt it. But moving on, I love them. I've always loved them. I still love them. So I tote a big green screen, and I've got pictures I'll show you later. But I tote a studio to these conferences, and we buy a booth. And I clear out all their tables and crap and give it away. The chairs, I mean, it's not crap, right? It's just nicely covered tables and chairs so you can sell stuff. I don't do that. I just remove it. I set up at least 4 lights. I put 2 on the green screen, 2 on me and the guests. We set up the table. Like I build the whole set day one, and then I sit and do interviews all day for 2 days, and then tear it down and bring it home. And I've been doing that for, I guess, about 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now. We've been working One EMS and trying to build that. And it has gotten to the point that I had some amazingness. Oh, look at old Chris Kringle showing up early. Impatient, Daddy. Whatever. We're not impatient. We just start on time. Why are you staring at me like that? You know what? I'm going to pause. This feels like a side conversation. So we just started nerding out. I started setting up my conference story. But Kurt, why do you look so aggravated and you named yourself Impatient Daddy? Nobody cares. Moving on. No,
so I've been part of this show for how long now?
5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes. It's been a while. A while. And certain members of my household forget that I record on Thursday nights.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
Every Thursday night.
Your great-great-grandbaby held you up. We understand.
Oh, if only. At least that would be a good excuse.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't look so frustrated. You'd be like, you just come in like, yeah, guys, I got 5 more minutes with grandkid. I'll see you next week, whatever.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Yep.
Fair enough. All right, well, I'll tell you a fun story, and then you can jump in.
Why don't you tell you a little story, and we'll tell you if it's fun.
Wow. I'm not your family, buddy. I didn't hurt you there. I wasn't mad with tonight. I remember you were supposed to record. So, all right. So I talking about how to do One EMS, and I build the whole booth. And I've been doing it for a while. And in the first year, I got almost zero interviews, right? Only my friends who knew me. And that was the only, people knew me, but only the people were like, yeah, we followed you. We understand what this is. I got like 3 interviews. It was very tough, but I was out there just mostly barking, right? Here's what One EMS is. Let me tell you, here's a 2-minute elevator pitch. And just selling the idea of it, giving out T-shirts. Then the next year, a little more. This year, now this is the big conference, has about 500 people come. Big being versus the other one's a leadership conference. So it is very much the chiefs and the high-end people who go to that, and they don't like to talk nearly as much. This is providers and educators, so it's a wider branch of attraction to people in my industry to come in. They love the T-shirts, right? They love the wireless charger, the phone chargers that we have, and all that. So they love the tchotchkes. But I get some people sitting down with him more and more and more. And I've been doing that. But this year, what happened was, day one, go in. I got a couple of my people who knew me to sit down. Then I got a couple of people who didn't know me to sit down. And we end the day, and we go to dinner. We do these things. And, of course, there's some alcohol involved in all of this. We have a great dinner. I know, Kurt. I know. EMS and alcohol is unheard of. It's unheard of.
Certainly not during the workday.
Yeah. Well, nobody's on duty at 6 o'clock at that. You could get hurt at that conference, and everybody's like, "Nope, man, I've been drinking, buddy. Call 911. That's not what I'm here for." So, of course, we go to this Irish pub every year. That's right across the street from the hotel, and that's where a lot of the okay, I gotta put random kid up here. Charles plus alcohol equals business as usual. That's fair. That is fair, and it's a bit more here. It's because it's an Irish pub, and a lot of the EMS people go, and I drink for free. That's just the way it goes at these conferences. I don't pay for a drink, I love that part. But that means I've got to keep my hand on my drink sometimes, so I'm not getting, the magic refillable glass slid in front of me when I'm not paying attention. That's happened, and I'm not complaining. It was never Malort, Joe. Just like long story short,
I didn't trick you with it.
So I'm preaching at a table, right? I went to a group where I knew one or two people, and we're talking, and the whole idea in EMS is we have to have people, and that's when I start preaching. I'm like, no, you don't. Let me tell you about my Lord and Savior, freedom. That's his name is freedom, because I'm do that, and my crew says goodnight. They leave. I stay there for another 30, 40 minutes, whatever, finish my drink, catch up with old friends, say goodnight. Shouldn't be left to my own, but I make it through, right? I just know how to flat foot walk so I don't fall down. I'm sure I look like an old man waddling, but I know how to manage. I go out the door, and there's this guy smoking, and I of course, constantly wear jerseys. Now, today I wore my jersey all day. That's the Wise and Nerdy. I have 2 1 EMS jerseys, one for the first day, one for the second day. None of these conferences are longer than 2 days so far that I've been able to go to. And so I'm wearing my jersey. And so I get stopped, like, oh, my God, you're the guy. You do one EMS. I don't know this dude. He was a speaker there, never met him. He's like, oh, man, yeah, tell me more. I've seen you in the booth, and, blah, blah. And I'm talking to him and this other girl. We're all drunk, right? But we're connected, we're talking. And so essentially I get recognized. And he's like, yeah, I was on a meeting with our medical legal counsel last week, and they referenced one of your shows. I'm like, could you tell me their names? I'd like to send a thank you note, because the numbers don't reflect the reach that I have. And that is a little crazy to me, because I look at the download and the watch numbers, and it doesn't sync up with people coming up like, hey, man, you're doing a good job. You need to keep that up. We love what you're doing. It's like, okay, I'm reaching somehow. But, me, I'm not a numbers horse, closed horse, as opposed to the other version. But I'd like to have some kind of knowledge that I'm reaching and not just being the artist. Anyway, so that
what he didn't tell you is it was Pokemon Go that he heard you on.
You know what? Whatever works, right? Stroke the ego. That's all I do. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Our medical legal counsel reference to your show is Pokemon Go episode 204, where you were talking about that stupid hippie Eevee. Dirty hippie Eevee. And so, cool. I did a drunk text to my partner. It was like, oh, man, blah, blah, blah. I read it the next day. He's like, yeah, I couldn't figure out what you're talking about. And I read it. I'm laughing it is so, it talks about blood and sugar and this and that. The only line it gets right is at the end. It's we're changing the effing world MFer, except it got all the letters right in that. That's the only clear line in the whole text. Well, that's about right for me when you leave me alone to my own devices, dude. So then the next morning, I get up. And I'm a coffee guy, right? It's kind of I don't want to people till I have something hot in my hands so I can drink and wake up with. Well, I'm walking down the hallway of my hotel, and out come these gentlemen from whatever their room is. And instead of going towards the elevator, where they're in between me and the elevator, they come towards me. I'm like, I know this is what I want, but can we make it I want to be recognized. I want to be engaged. Can we keep it 30 minutes? But he's like, hey, as long as you've been killing I've been
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I heard it anyway. What is it? What is it you do? Now I'm wearing my bright green 1 EMS t-shirt or hoodie. What do I wear? Jerseys. That's what I wear. Jerseys. And I mean, big EMS, I'm a walking billboard. That's why I wear these things. He goes, is it a podcast? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, what's it about? And I go, and I can take a breath to clear my mind to go, okay, I haven't had coffee. Let me get the 2-minute elevator. Let me get my elevator pitch in my head to summarize. And apparently too much time went by, which is 20 seconds. He's like, is it like anything to do with EMS? I don't know where this came from, but I was like, no, it's about dog track racing because we're all degenerate gamblers in EMS. I just hide it under this title. He's like, what? I'm just messing with you, dude. Yes, it's EMS. And I went on to tell him, we're the voice of EMS. We're talking about educating everybody on what it is, getting the public to know what it is, getting us to even understand what it is, and to bring us together instead of all the separation we have in the field of what we do. And we're here to change it for the better. So,
and dog track racing is trash.
Yeah.
It's no good. It's not good.
Catch that rabbit. These dogs are worthless. I can catch that rabbit. And
I've been. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's a joke, Kurt. Of course it's terrible. All animal abuse is terrible, sir.
No, not all.
Stop hijacking my nerding out. All right. So I love, I'm getting seen, right? And I was like, man, this is what I've been working for. Didn't realize it was going to come at 8:00 in the morning, day 2 of a conference after I drank most of the night. But okay, I'm okay with this. And then later on, or late that day, I took a video that I posted that morning on TikTok. To date, the biggest video I've ever posted on TikTok for any reason. And I caught this I was just right place, right time. I'm in the right mindset, caught the video. It's a 5-minute video. It's on We Are One EMS on TikTok. And it's about IO. IO is a needle. It's a big needle that you put into a bone. If you can't get an IV to get fluids into a human being for EMS. Yeah. Well, typically, you're not awake for it as the patient. Typically.
Oh, okay.
Because if you can't get an IV, now you might be. It's rare, but it's typically it's like we can't find a vein to get you the life-saving things when you get into your body. This is our last-ditch effort. The guy who invented the easy IO, which is a drill that makes it more humane for sure, just done. I know it sounds weird.
No, thank you. Let me die.
You say that now, Kelsey. I need your permission that anytime I'm with Joe, if he even looks a little under the weather, like, hey, you're looking a little pale, I can just drill a needle into his arm, okay? I need your permission.
No, thank you.
She's going to give it to you. Because she wants you to come home, Joe. I want you to come home. We're just looking out for you, buddy. Long story long. The guy who invented all that, wrote the book on all of it, is a paramedic, still at heart. He works with like high-end military. Oh, she wants you to die too. She's not giving you permission to save your life. She,
as long as we're all on the same page.
Yeah, it must be the life insurance at his job. I get it, sure. So the guy who he works with high-end military people like to do the research, and of course, military. If you are unaware, the U.S. military are guinea pigs. Period for medicine. So I know, Kurt, but not everybody who listens puts that dot together, but they are. And there's plenty
for
of
decades,
there.
for
Yeah,
decades
still.
and decades.
Still,
Yeah.
You don't like the story I'm telling? Look up the Sternum IO military video. They do it on awake people because if you're going to do it as a medic in the field, you have to have it done to you in the military. In that sense, it's rough. Even as a medic, I'm like, yeah, I'll pass on the military thing.
Just tase me.
But to paint a picture of this, to paint a picture of this
just taste me, bro.
Paramedic, works side by side with the military, been very successful at his passion, which is educating people and changing medicine, like eating up the science, really paying attention, drawing, he's that nerd. But you add military/medic to that, and he's salty too. And he says some jokes, even I were like, as a performer, I'm like, that towed a line. I mean, it might have towed a line just over it. No, shut up, random kid. This is my nerd. I can tell it however I want to tell it. Point is, somebody in between sessions came in and asked him a question about putting that bone needle in an arm, and he started calling for a Sharpie, and he got a guy sitting next to him to volunteer. And so he goes, here, lay down. He had the guy lay down on a conference table. Now, that conference table is not made to hold a human child, much less an adult. So I'm videoing just as much to watch it break as I had to watch the education. But it was fantastic. In 5 minutes, you watch it, not knowing any medicine. You watch that 5-minute video, you will understand why it got done that way and exactly the physics of it. And if you can get past it might be a needle in the arm, in the bone, really, but you wouldn't like the rest of it. The rest of it was a live video from his cadaver lab in Washington or wherever it was, and we're watching him cut open and show all this. I loved it. It's not for everybody. But that video, that 5 minutes of him just bam, bam, talking, showing, educating, look, and it's all practical, and it all makes sense. And we're like, as seasoned paramedics, as seasoned educators, we're all like, yeah. I mean, that's all you can do is like, you're a little kid going, holy crap, I get it, man. Last night, so I posted it yesterday morning. Last night is at 14,000 views on TikTok and lots of likes. As of tonight, it's at 26,000 views.
Nice.
And like hundreds of favorites. And like, it's just fun. And I know it's not going to be viral. I would count viral at the double digit. 100,000 above. I don't know what viral would be. But for me, it's just I caught the moment. I thought about it. I framed it right. I got it put up. And I just captured what I loved. And it was amazing. And it's just been a fun little ride for the last 24 hours. And hopefully I'll keep some. I got a lot of follows on that channel, mostly medics and stuff, which is who we're looking for. And a number of them have actually gone and looked at some of my other videos that aren't that. Because I get it. You watch a video somebody posting, there's like Garth Brooks on the stage. You like that video, but the rest of them and their family. That's what you didn't like. But I'm actually getting some of that spinoff where they've watched some other videos and liked it and this and that and other. So that is my nerding out. I'm nerding out that this con brought me a little bit of notoriety and a little bit of tiredness, but I loved it. And I really want that. I was saying before you got on, Kurt, I honestly would prefer it to be here on Wise and Nerdy.
Sure.
Or second, honestly, this is my third level request. And my first one was like, let's do Wise and Nerdy. Second was, okay, I'm hitting notoriety. Let's be it where I can speak at conferences and those kind of things. This one is good. People recognize me. So I'm going to have to build a media page on One EMS and show all this off. It's like, hey, you want to bring us to your conference? Here's how you do it. But that's my nerding out about. What's yours, guys?
Do you want to go, Kurt, or you want me to go?
I can go because mine will be pretty short. I'm nerding out about the gym because on Friday after our last episode, I went to my surgeon for my follow-up and released me from my binder, gave me permission to sleep on my side, and cleared me for exercise.
Oh yeah,
very nice.
All at once.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think that you haven't been able to go to the gym while you're
healing. Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah. Like, not only was I not able to go to the gym, he wouldn't approve me going out for walks because I walk at about 3 miles an hour or so, and so it's a pretty good clip. But he basically said, "Yeah, you can go out for your walk as long as you take 8 hours to do it."
People don't realize that the motion of the body, the jostling, it can do a lot more than we think it can, and it's so frustrating. I remember going through my knee stuff, and right now we have a young lady in our office who tore some tendons and bone in her foot when she went to the beach playing beach volleyball, and it's driving her nuts not to go. So I gotta imagine, dude. Yeah. How much did you walk today?
So that was on Friday. I went to the gym. I didn't go Friday, but I went like Saturday, I think, and just like, and I'm not walking at the same level that I was walking, because I didn't want to start lifting weights until I talked with my trainer, because I got to ease back into it. I can't go full bore, and I don't feel like I should go full bore. I mean, I've still got some tenderness going on, but really no pain. When I had arthroscopic surgery on my knee, that was more painful than being cut hip to hip.
Okay, because that's what I had on my knee, so I get a reference point.
It's really weird. But the gold was sleeping on my side. I was averaging about 2 hours a night sleeping for the last 4 weeks. And this weekend, it was like 6 and 7 hours respectively the first 2 nights, because it was like, and I don't have to wear my binder. And so it was like, oh, glorious. It was just great. I turned off all my alarms and just said, I don't care when I wake up. Just let's just go. And so it's been wonderful. And I'm still feeling better every day, which is even better. So the weird part is in about 2 weeks, I have to make the decision on whether or not I'm going to run that Spartan race.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I'm not.
When is it though?
I think it's a little too
No,
early.
November 9th.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit early.
Well, here's the thing. I think I could do it at
What's
this
your
point.
doctor say?
Well, my doctor, basically the surgeon anyway, the one that I've been doing the follow-ups with, he was just like going, you're cleared for exercise, like you're cleared to walk, that's no problem. But you're cleared for exercise, you just got to ease into it. And with my trainer, I'm easing into it. We're doing like half weight twice a week instead of 4 times a week. You know, things like that. And so I think I'm probably just gonna nuke it rather than take a chance at this point. But I'm feeling really good.
The real question, in my opinion, from a medical standpoint, is what's the damage that would be done? Because ultimately, obviously, you've healed enough that any of the cuts, any of the stitches, all that is fine. So it is like, would it just be overexertion and okay, I really shouldn't have done that, and you hurt in the muscles, or would it might be damage?
No, that's a great question. I don't know about actual damage that could happen because the scar is definitely healed. There's a scar there, and it's still a little tender, because it's still kind of healing. But I'm not worried about splitting it open really. But it just I'm not strong enough yet. I don't think I'm strong enough yet. I wasn't ever going to compete in it. I just want to see if I could do it.
Want to do it, yeah.
Yeah, but I
think in a normal day you could do it.
Oh yeah, I think so too. But I just I want to make sure I'm ready because I don't want to be second guessing everything that I do in an effort to protect that area. You know what I mean? Just because we do that, right? We don't exert to the level we think we would normally because we want to protect.
Yes.
And if I'm worrying about that while I'm doing that.
But also the flip side is true. As human beings, we overexert because we think our limits are further than they really are, too. Sometimes
it's really funny because when it comes to like the weightlifting thing, like you go until you can't do another rep. But studies have shown that if you have somebody there like coaching you live and in person, you usually can squeak out another rep or 2 or 3 because we're not ever going max effort.
Yeah. Well, I imagine.
Well, it's probably good that we're not going max effort.
No. But so I'm sorry. So what I mean by max effort is actually to actual failure. When you're lifting weights, and again, in a safe environment, doing the form the right way and everything, one of the things that you do is you push until you can't push anymore, and then you don't do more than that. But that going to failure thing is pretty common, only with good form. Again, I'm gonna reiterate that because that's when you start getting hurt is when you don't do it with good form. And so most of the time we don't judge our own failure rate decently. Like we can do more than we think. So, but again, the thing is with the Spartan for me is it's a thing to see if I can do it. There will be others. It's not like a one and done. I don't have to get this done or else I'll never do it again. It's
just from a corporation standpoint, I support Tough Mudder over the Spartan race.
I've heard really good things about Tough Mudder too. So look, the Spartan thing, the main reason why I wanted to do it, well, one is to see if I could do it. That's the biggest one. But also, it's inside Fenway Park. Like it's run in the park and all over the park, and I could go into places of Fenway Park that I would never be able to otherwise.
Yeah, no, that's definitely.
So,
one of the favorite races that my son ran was every year, the mayor shuts down a specific landing strip at Hartsfield, and you run the airport, and you still get to see the planes on other strips taking off. And it's at 4 a.m. because you gotta get it done by 7 because you can't shut down it longer than that. But Yeah, that's really cool. So I get it.
Yeah.
So,
So
Joe, can you top celebrityism and healing to be a Spartan? Are you nerding out about anything cool, man? Of course
Well,
you are.
so a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I was really getting into the Libby app, where I could.
Yeah, the library. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the library app. And so the first audiobook that I have finished is Dune, and it was the first that single audiobook contained the first 3 books of Dune, which is
Wow.
what was made into the 2 movies. So they took the 3 books and made the 2 movies. And after listening to the audiobook, they did a fantastic, like I already liked the movies, but they did a fantastic job of book to screen adaptation.
Okay.
Even the stuff that they took out, I'm like, no, I fully get why they took stuff like that out. And maybe in the post show, I'll do some spoilers because I think you both have seen the 2 Dune movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really, really good. And it's one of the only books that I've read that is that's in third person omniscient point of view. And so for those that are unfamiliar with the term, it's a lot of books are third person, but you usually are limited to which characters you can hear their inner thoughts. Whereas with Dune, the author jumps into multiple characters' heads whenever he needs to for the story. And so, yeah, so it might be the first book I've read in that style, and it was really interesting to see because I know I was listening to it and they had voice actors that could play the different voices, or they had a few people, and so they did different voices for each character, so that helped in differentiating. But even without that, the writing was very clear on whose thoughts you were jumping into at any given time. And usually it was very limited to a sentence or 2 to complement the scene that was going on. And it was fantastic. I've already put in a hold request for the 4th book. The next 3 books are their own separate audiobooks. So I've already put in a hold for the next one because I'm curious to see how far they end up going with the movies, because I think they've done fantastic. I haven't looked at the numbers, but they seem rather well received.
Yeah, and isn't there a TV series coming out as an offshoot of that too?
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
I think so.
I haven't heard that one either.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like an HBO series. Yeah, let me find out.
Well,
but
there's,
yeah,
there's 20 something books, but the original author only wrote 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think all, or at least a majority of the rest of them are co-written by his son and someone else.
Okay.
But yeah, so my plan, at least for now, is to just read the original 6, or listen to rather the original 6.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's Dune Prophecy is coming out, and I think in November, like this year.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that. Yeah, interesting. I wonder what
Chalamet in it.
And it centers on the lives of the Bene Gesserit.
Okay, all right. So this is probably a prequel.
Yeah,
would be my guess.
I would think the prophecy that predicted.
Yeah.
Probably
because the next book in the series is Dune Messiah, so I would assume that Dune 3 is going to be going into that. But
yeah. So this says 10,000 years before Paul Atreides joins the Freeman.
Okay, so very much a prequel.
Very, very much. Yep.
But yeah, no, it very, very, very good. The other thing I'm nerding out about is Rings of Power Season 2. My wife and I just finished it last night. And so have you watched Season 1?
Nope.
Okay. So Season 1 was kind of lackluster in my opinion. It was okay. If you don't compare it to the Lord of the Rings movies, which inevitably they're going to be, it was fine. It was enjoyable. But it definitely was not the quality of the movies. And I think season 2 does a better job. They're finding their footing. Now, granted, I am not familiar with this portion of the source material at all, so I don't know how faithful it is. My guess is it's not, but I haven't read it, so that doesn't really necessarily matter to me per se. But my only gripe is they have too many storylines going on. And it makes it very frantic jumping around to the different storylines, because some of the storylines are very self-contained. And so it's like, okay, what's the point in this other than fleshing out the world, because it's not moving the main plot forward at all. And so we'll see where they go with it. I from what I've heard and what my wife looked up, it sounds like the writers are working on the script for season 3, but it hasn't officially been greenlit. They want to have the script first before they officially greenlight the project for a season 3. So, but I did enjoy it, and that's what entertainment is supposed to do.
Yeah. A friend,
Yeah.
I have a friend who is a giant Lord of the Rings nerd, like just gets really into the lore and is really hypercritical when things veer away from that. Ooh, he hates this series so much. Like I've watched the first couple episodes of the first season, and I went, all right, that's fine, and I'll sit down and watch it at some point, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'm sure it'll be fine. But he just he goes, I made it 5 episodes and forget it. I'm not doing this anymore.
As someone who loves the source material that much, I'm kind of surprised he made it even 5 episodes.
Well, he went in critical too. He was like going, I don't know, but I'm going to give it a fair shot. Okay. All right. And 5 episodes, that's a fair shot. That's a fair shot.
Well, and especially, I don't remember how many episodes the first season was, but the second season is only 9 episodes. So that, if the first season was comparable, then that's half the season. So that is a fair shot in my opinion.
Yep.
I think what really helped them the second season is they didn't restrict themselves to like a 45-minute specific time frame. They allowed it to be a decent amount plus or minus instead of being strict. And I think that helped them flesh out what they needed to flesh out, and it helped with the pacing, in my opinion.
That's great.
So
I love when TV shows, because that's becoming more and more common, right? I love when TV shows just go, well, we have to tell this story tonight. And so however long it takes is however long it takes. And the networks usually, and particularly it's the streaming networks, but usually go, okay, you have your budget. I mean, take whatever time you need.
Yeah, I heard they completely blew out their budget, but most projects do. But yeah, like you said, in the realm of streaming that we're at, you're not beholden to a time slot.
Right. Yeah.
So